Resident Evil: Every Creature Explained. Resident Evil just hit Netflix, and it's safe to say that it's been met with a mixed response. With Netflix tackling the franchise that centers around a world where T-Virus has gripped a hold of 6 billion people and left only 300 million non-infected, I thought I'd take a look at the monsters and creatures that featured in the show and explain all that there is to know about them. So let's get into it. Here is Resident Evil: Every Creature Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. This show featured a lot of creatures and monsters that have appeared in the Resident Evil franchise over the years, from the most dangerous of beings to ones that could quite literally give you nightmares. Let's break them down. The Giant Caterpillar. One of the first creatures that we saw in the show occurred in the first episode, and it was a giant mutated caterpillar. It emerged from under the ground and was awoken by the safeguard that Jade had put in place to wipe out the Zeros if she were to be chased by some of them. The caterpillar had T-Virus within its system, which caused it to get as large and as powerful as what it was. We did see that although it held extremely sharp teeth and a countless number of arms and legs, it was pretty weak against the most basic of weapons, and didn't have a durable outer body. Licker. Lickers are creatures that I would say are one of the most terrifying and nightmare-inducing. We saw these Lickers appear under the tunnel when Jade and the group were looking to get to Calais. A Licker's appearance is quite unique and has an exposed brain, no eyes and no skin. They also have an extremely long tongue that has evolved to be several feet long, hence the name Licker. They were formed when a virus mutated within a zombie and transformed them into what we now know. They have extreme strength and are a formidable force to come up against. Their claws are sharp and strong, which allow them to cling to any space, upside down or on their side, allowing them to maneuver all over the place. They run on all fours as well, allowing them to hunt like an animal and build up speed. Whilst they can't see anything, they hunt using their hearing, so when one is around, you have to remain completely silent. Zeros. A Zero is what we see a human become when the T-Virus is present within them for more than 3 days. Whilst they don't die when they're infected, they mirror similar behaviours to what we see a zombie do. Their brain function becomes extremely low, and they're unable to communicate with each other or build a kind of civilization. They act as an individual but tend to move as a pack. They follow the food. Over the course of a few years with the T-Virus within them, they start to lose certain senses. They lose their vision, then their hearing, and then they rely on their sense of smell to hunt. They tend to smell the blood of an individual quite soon after it's been exposed, and we've seen that there is a certain pheromone that can render an individual as invisible to a Zero if they cover themselves in it. Whilst they don't really have any enhanced abilities, they're pretty quick, but they are prone to the same weaknesses as a human in terms of durability. Cerberus. In the Netflix show, we saw that Cerberus was the dog that bit Billy, and was what transmitted the T-Virus into her system. The dog was used as a test subject in order to see how it would react to the T-Virus being present within its system. Outside of the Netflix show, it was a test subject being tested on for military purposes, with the intention of breeding a superior breed, and then selling them off as weapons to be utilized. During the testing process, they saw that although there were some alterations to the appearance of the animal, it kept its muscles intact, and allowed it to be far stronger and a lot more powerful than it was before. It also lost the ability to be afraid, in the sense that it wasn't fearful of loud noises, so it would be able to go directly into battle. With all of this, it still had the ability to be trained, and thus the original version of it was cloned, so many of them would be able to contain the same traits, making it a scary creature to come up against. Tyrant. Tyrant was the creature that we kept getting glimpses of throughout the season, and was finally introduced to us in the final episode, where we saw Evelyn show it to Bert, calling it an important project. This important project was focused on Tyrant. Tyrant was created due to the T-Virus and the potential cloning of its specimen. It was created with the intent of being utilized on the battlefield. Unlike normal Zeros, Tyrants have the capability of thought and hold a level of intelligence. Standing between 7 and 12 feet tall, they're a physical presence that is hard to be matched. They hold claws that are powerful enough to cause a lot of damage. They are able to jump to extreme heights and distances, and their strength was also enhanced to large levels. We didn't get to see one of these in action in Season 1 of the show, but there were a lot of subtle hints about them throughout the whole season, so I think that if Season 2 does get commissioned, we will see this reappear. especially considering it survived the explosion in the finale. The giant spider. In episode 3 of the show, once the group had escaped the lickers in the tunnel to Calais, they found an alternative route to evade. However, they encountered what was a giant spider lurking around a corner. There are many variations of spiders in Resident Evil, but I would assume that this one could have been Black Tiger, the most well-known giant spider in the franchise. Standing at around 4 feet tall, it's every arachnophobe's nightmare. These spiders are extremely dangerous due to the fact that, as we saw, it has the capability of penetrating human skin with its legs. And it's also extremely venomous. It lets out a scream to alert others of its presence to inflict fear into the victim. As well as having a strong attack, we also see that its defense was just as good. It was able to withstand shots being fired at it, and it didn't alter its movement or direction of travel, showing that it has a durable body. It has increased speed, and whilst not being as fast as Jade or the other humans, it was definitely able to keep on their tail and apply a lot of pressure. The large alligator. We witnessed this beast in the finale of Season 1. It was being held underwater as a secret weapon that nobody else knew about. A lot of alligators were modified due to the incident that occurred with the T-virus, and it caused them to mutate and grow in size. This was done by accident and not on purpose. They were around 32 feet in length and are a real physical presence when they come charging towards you. We saw that Jade had utilized some of the work that she'd been developing to keep it asleep underwater, and then shock it into waking up, which would essentially activate it to wreak havoc on land. We witnessed it decimate everything in its path, as it was able to withhold shots being fired at it, and also missiles as well, showing that it had an extremely durable outer layer of skin. It could move at great pace on land despite its size and weight. It has a jaw that can snap and bite with extreme force, and also the power it could generate with its movement was enough to stop things in its path and send it on a different trajectory. Lisa Trevor. Lisa Trevor was an individual that we only got glimpses of in the first season of the show, and that was due to the video footage that Jade and Billy stumbled across. Lisa Trevor was once a normal human who underwent biological testing done by Umbrella. The testing caused her to have a wide array of side effects that transformed her appearance significantly. She has a giant eyeball that's on her back, and she also has a hunch, leading her posture to be extremely bad all of the time, with her arms being extremely disproportionate to the rest of her body. She's an individual that's extremely hard to defeat. There aren't many weapons that are able to deliver serious damage to her, as she was able to survive her planned execution. Her intelligence is something that was compromised, but she did still show signs of intelligence. However, she was unable to speak. We only saw the character in video footage in this season, so it would be interesting to see if they do touch on her involvement anymore. There were multiple creatures incorporated into this show, and it was good to see. However, there wasn't too much involvement from them. It felt like a far more individual and personal battle, rather than against the creatures at hand that had been mutated by the T-virus. I'm hoping we'll see a little more development of the creatures if Season 2 of the show does go ahead. So, there you have it. Every creature in Resident Evil explained. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, character breakdowns, and theories and predictions, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of Resident Evil? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.